Hari Om, welcome back.
योगा 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 आओ मेरे दोस्तों हम अपनाए योगा.
Well, now we'll focus on the basic our Vaisi practices which we have in our syllabus. So now we focus mostly on the precautions, benefits and contraindications of the practices which we have in our syllabus. So first one, the practice is Shankar Praksalna, right? Shankar Praksalna, it's a part of Douti where we use it as the cleansing of our GIT, gastrointestinal tract. Okay, so the food alimentary canal from mouth till anus. So in Shankar Praksalna we take the water and we boil it away. We use the boiling system to flush out the water which we use. It is considered as an advanced practice where one has to follow some instructions, a very few, but yes, it's good to use those instructions. So here we have, always remember, the better time to practice this Shankar Praksalna is early morning. Do it with the empty stomach. And always remember, once the practice is finished, don't directly go for a bath or shower. Let the body take its time to come into the natural or normal temperature. Once you finish the practice, don't directly jump for bathing or cleansing. Do it on a day where you can be very free, whole day you are free, then only go for the practice. If not, if you are in a hurry, please don't do. And also we have to follow the diet once you finish the practice, because the diet should be very sattvic and the bland diet is very good. Taking of excess spicy, salty, highly pungent is not prescribed on the day which you do this practice. If you do, this is only for Laghu Shankar Praksalna. If you are going for the Purna Shankar Praksalna, then you have to follow 1 week proper care. You have to do with a proper care for 1 week. And as soon as finishing of your practice, don't sit in a hot sun, don't sit near any fire, or don't put AC and sleep. Having highly excess temperature of heat or cold is not good for the body or for a person when they undergo this practice. So remember this. Then contraindications. Who should not perform the practice? So here Laghu Shankar Praksalna, who should all not do the practice are those who are with heart and kidney problems, those who have hypertension, those who are feeling dizziness or epilepsy, if they are having bleeding piles, please better not to do the practice. Don't do this practice, avoid the practice, these people. And avoid the same practice during the pregnancy. Better not to do during the time of pregnancy where you use excess pressure on your abdomen when you go for the bowel sometimes. So it is not prescribed for pregnancy people. Okay, so what is the age limit of this practice? The person minimum 15 years. The person should be minimum 15 years. It is not prescribable for those who are under 15 years. It might not be that good idea to give them. So don't give them, okay? So you minimum 15 years, like if the person is above 15, it is good. Old age, aged people can also perform up to their capability. There is no restriction for the end, but the starting is, it would be better if you start when you are 15 years, like that, okay? And what are the benefits? There are wonderful benefits. The main benefits we all have, the balancing of the three doshas that we have, but the excess weights in our body in the alimentary canal will be flushed out. It helps in that. It helps if you are having heavy overheated body, if you are having heatness in your body, if you are feeling excess heat, then it is a good practice. It also regulates the digestive power. It helps in increasing the efficiency of digestion, and this practice will always keeps you away from all kind of diseases, because everything starts from here only, with the jirnatva, with the power of digestion. If it is less, you might get any kind of disease. So always keeping your digestive tract healthy and clean, it will be good for you to lead a happy life. So this is of Shankar Praksalna. Then how frequent you should do the practice? If you are going for Purna Shankar Prakshalna, PSP, then 6 months once. It is prescribed once in 6 months to do. If you are going for Laghu Shankar Prakshalna, if you are advised to do, either monthly once or monthly twice you can do it, not a problem. Then coming to Vamana Dhati, same precautions, empty stomach, early in the morning, and the previous night should be little bit light meal. Don't take heavy meal like chicken, mutton or egg, something highly proteinaceous food, please don't take. Go with the light meal like rasam, annam, all these things. Rasam I personally prescribe because rasam has these quantities which can it detoxifies your body. It helps in detoxification. It flushes out all the toxins so that when you do the kriya, everything will be flushed out easily. So rasam has that properties. So I prescribe you to take rasam rice in the night and take early like around 7:30 and have a good sleep, and don't do this practice if it is too cold or too hot. So the weather also should be a pleasant. So the yogi says, the yogi is prescribed to do this practice, these kind of practices, climate changing practices, where it will be quite normal, not too much cold, not too much hot, rather than doing in the deep in middle of the winter or doing the in between of the summer. Do in the climatic changing conditions. This is how the yogis prescribe. Then who shouldn't do the practice? Those are with high BP, peptic ulcers, heart diseases. These kind of people should avoid this Vamana Dhati. Okay. Then the benefits of Vamana Dhati are, it cleanses, as I told, upper digestive tract, as it comes under the Hridaya Dhati, upper digestive tract, from your abdomen to your throat. Where it helps there. Good for asthmatics. Those who are having asthma, it is a very good practice. So one cannot do at the time of having asthma, but if asthma attack, but if you do try to do, that would be helpful actually. Doing at the time of asthmatic attack, the energy will be transferred elsewhere and you can do it properly, and that will be helpful for the people who are having asthma. So asthma, generally what happens, the panic attack occurs, so it helps in that. It regulates the apana vayu. Okay. Next, it also enhances the digestive efficiency. As we use and we remove all the excess mucus or the excess waste in our upper body tract, will be reduced and flushed out. Then Neti here. In Neti, we have Jal Neti and Sutra Neti. So those are having chronic nasal bleeding, some because of excessive heat, they have this nasal bleeding. So if you are having from longer time, chronic means if you are having from longer time and severe, please avoid this, better not to do. Same, the ideal timing is always early in the morning, and always make sure that the water which you are using for your Jal Neti should not be excessive heat. It should not too hot. It should be lukewarm, which can be bearable, because it might burn your nasal lining, and that is very suffering kind of thing which you will suffer later. So please don't use hot water, too hot water, use the lukewarm water. Okay. The benefits are, it cleanses the nasal cavity and it influences the tissues of this nasal lining, this nasal passage lining. It influences the tissues, because those tissues will be helpful in further, where the glands, small glands are present in those tissues. This practice, Jal Neti, will influence those tissues, and that those tissues are healthy and good, so the glands will secrete proper mucus, so that mucus can trap the outside particles, dust elements properly, which will harm your lungs or your body if they go inside. So this kind of mucus, if it is around your nasal lining, so these things will just trap them, the elements or the germs or the other particles which are in environment, and they will strike them with them. And when you do the practice Jalneti, it will be flushed out properly, or when you do all other practices, that can be thrown out rather than taking it in. Understand? So that's how Jalneti helps. Then we have Sutraneti. Sutraneti, here we use the rubber catheter. Always remember the precautions of Sutraneti are important, where because many of people, they will directly insert it. If it is not going, they will pull, like push it, they might hit this part, and then you will be having severe headache. So try not to do these things. Do it gently and slowly and smoothly. You insert it. Once you find the way, you insert it slowly, look up and insert it, and bend down. Once you feel the itchy sensation, you use your fingers and do it. In the practical session, you will be taught these things. So by doing these things, so it should be done very carefully. Okay, and make sure that you clean the sutra. The catheter should be cleaned before you use it. And those who shouldn't do the practice, those who avoid this practice are those who are with the chronic nasal bleeding should avoid this practice, and those who are having severe nasal problems should avoid this practice. It's better not to do these practices. Sutraneti. Then how does it helps? Oh, it helps in a wonderful way. It helped me a lot because I suffer with sinusitis. I was suffering with sinusitis whenever I travel from one place to another place. So basically I was living in Bangalore, and Bangalore is known for cool weather, and I don't know how did I make it out for 5 years, but yes, I made it out because every week we do this Sutraneti, because that reduces the sensitivity of your nasal cavity, nasal lining, because once you are attacked with the sinusitis, the sensitivity will be more of your nasal cavity. Then you do these things, using the catheter and you doing Sutraneti, it helps in reducing the sensitivity. It massages and strengthens your mucous membranes and enhancing their efficiency. Their working capability, it enhances the blood circulation to your nose will be increased, and the blood supply to your nostrils are optimized. That means it does a favor to your nose. It is a very good thing doing Sutraneti. So better do that, and avoid, if you are having severe back pain or cervical spondylitis, just avoid it, because doing it will give you more sneezes in the starting time. That will give the jerky movement at your cervical region, that means your neck region. So better avoid it in the starting time. First cure your cervical problem or reduce your cervical problem, then go for the Sutraneti under the guidance. Again remember, always go under the guidance. Here next practice we have the Nauli. So in Nauli, always the precautions, simple basic precautions, empty stomach. But if you are having any pain while doing the practice, or you are doing the practice, if you are getting any pain, just stop it there, relax. If you are not having pain for a while, then continue. But if you are having pain, stop the session, the practice for a few days, then start. That is for Nauli. If you have underwent the abdominal surgery, or if you are suffering with hypertension, if you are suffering with heart disease, or you are having peptic ulcers, please avoid this practice. And pregnancy, obviously you shouldn't do this practice. But after delivery, wait for 6 months minimum, and then continue the practice for the pregnancy. The benefits are wonderful, because in the Kundalini level, it enhances the chakra, because this is the center part of our body, center part of the Kundalini. Here the Manipura chakra is there, and it helps in awakening the Manipura chakra by mastering that practice. It helps in spreading the energy towards the up. It helps there a lot in the Manipura chakra. In the physical level, the abdominal muscles, these things become strong, the healthy, and the risk of hernia will be less. The hernia is a kind of condition where the organ will be lining towards the cavity. It may come out of the cavity where it shouldn't come. So this helps in risking the low risk of the hernia, where Nauli helps there. Then, as we have many other organs, pancreas, livers are there, they enhance those organs, and mostly we have to focus on the pancreas. Where? Because the pancreas releases the insulin, that insulin which helps in diabetes. So it is very good for diabetes in the simple language. But consider with all other contraindications, then you prescribe or you can practice the Nauli. Then we have Trataka. Trataka has very good features, wherein the precautions always remember, do it in a closed area. If you are going for Jyoti Trataka, do it in a closed area. If you are doing the flame, or if you are using a candle or a lamp, the flame should not flicker too much. The flame should be steady. It may move little bit, but not too much of moving. So the unstabilized flame is not good for Trataka, because it will start to flicker your mind, it will reduce your concentration, and you may hurt yourself. You may get severe headache also. And if you are having migraine, avoid this practice. If you are having glaucoma, avoid this practice. If you are having epilepsy, that means in common we say fits, please avoid this practice. Don't do these practices. Then it helps where it benefits. It helps in the defects of eyes. It helps in the defects of eyes. It helps in the divine vision. The yogi says Divya Chakshu, it's Divya Drushti. It helps in creation of the divine vision to your eyes. It also helps in the Shambhavi Siddhi. They say that if you practice and if you master in Trataka, you can achieve the Siddhi of Shambhavi. In general, we have Shambhavi Mudra, where we turn your both the eyes to one point and we see. That means it helps in getting you Ekagrata, the single or one pointed awareness. It's a very good thing. And it is also helps in, we can say like this, to keep it like a stabilized state of consciousness. As we have the conscious states of consciousness in our mind or in our body, sometimes they will be unstable. But you know, the yogi says that vision is always connected to your consciousness. So the steady vision will give you the steady state of consciousness, or the steady chitta. You will be having the steady chitta. It says like that. And if you are having sight, it may be long or short, myopia or heteropia, you can go with the practice, do it, and it helps in controlling the sight. Good for those who are having short sightedness or long sightedness. That's how Trataka works. Then the last practice we have here, this is a Kapalbati. So Kapalbati, generally same, go with the empty stomach. Always remember, if you are feeling unwell or dizziness, don't do the practice. Same, the weather should not be extreme hot, remember. As Kapalbati in Vatkrama, it is a heating practice, just like kind of Bastrika. So don't, if the weather is too hot, then don't do. That's why the yogi says they don't practice this thing much in summer season, because the temperature is more high. There is no need of doing this practice. So better not to do in high temperature. And if you are simple thing, if you are irritated and if you are angry, go for deep breathings, but don't go for Kapalbati. Okay, don't go for Kapalbati. And the contraindications are, those who should not do this practice are high BP persons, short tempered, epilepsy, that means the fits, if you are constipated, if you are having anger issues, if you are undergoing some anger management, don't do these things. And if you are having ulcers in your abdomen, or if you are having some kind of heart problems, please avoid the Kapalbhati. Then the benefits are wonderful. It works in the cellular level. How? Let me tell you. You go for excessive exhalation. Because of the excessive exhalation, the intake of the gaseous, that means intake of the air will be more, and the exchange of the gases which happens in your cellular respiration Oh, that is wonderful. The cellular respiration will be enhanced. That means the gaseous exchange of oxygen, carbon dioxide will be more. That means your cells, your blood will be receiving more oxygen. As it is an hyperventilating practice, here we excess flush out most of the CO2. And the benefits of this thing is also works wherein chronic bronchitis, inflammations in your bronchi, branches of your lungs, and also it may help in tuberculosis. Here it says, and by excessing exhalation of CO2, your lung capacity will be increased, and the inhalation of the lung capacity, that means it is good for asthma too. Those who are having asthmatic problem or chronic lung diseases, Kapalabhati is very good good practice. And it also increases the cardiac input, because the blood also increases, the cardiac output will be also increased. So these are the benefits, limitations and contraindications and the precautions which you have to practice basically in shatkarmas. Thank you.